Good morning, please, ladies and gentlemen. No. Good morning, everybody. Please sit down. We are going to start this morning event, and I'm Giuseppe Rinaldi, the moderator of this day. And welcome at this EYE conference in collaboration with the National Council of Industrial Engineers. And today we are going to talk about a few interesting things, I hope, with this... sorry. First of all, sorry for my English, because I'm not a mother tongue English, so be nice with me, okay? Because the president asked me to do this, but it's not my job. Anyway, my job is different. I'm a senior advisor of a company, and anyway, we are in collaboration with the National Council. So let's start this day, and I give the to you, Giovanni.
Please.
Devi accendere, destra lì. Sì, è acceso. No, adesso no.
Prova, ok. My engineering. Buongiorno a tutti. Io non parlo inglese, non speak English, quindi lei parlerà per me dopo. Quindi, ok. Grande difficoltà, devo dire, Giuseppe, con questa cosa che chiaramente mi vede un po' in difficoltà con la lingua. Vi presento Giovanni Esposito, Presidente del Consiglio Nazionale dei Periti Industriali. Un grazie innanzitutto alla città di Napoli e nella persona del Sindaco di Napoli, che ha voluto anche, come si vede dal manifesto, dare il proprio patrocinio. Grazie all'ARPAC Campania, Agenzia per l'Ambiente, che oggi sarà, diciamo, protagonista anche al tavolo dei relatori per parlare, diciamo, di quello che è il tema di oggi: energia, ambiente. Binomio chiaramente sinergico, vero problema di questo Paese, e non solo l'ambiente. Chi sono i periti industriali? Una professione che raccoglie circa 38.000 iscritti sul territorio nazionale, una professione che insieme alle altre professioni tecniche rappresenta in questo Paese circa 600.000 ingegneri, architetti, geologi nel panorama delle professioni tecniche italiane. Noi solo 38.000, ma come dire, facciamo rumore. E volevo qua ringraziare l'organizzazione, no? Innanzitutto, che ha permesso di avere questo evento qui in Italia, e lo devo fare ringraziando il Presidente dei Giovani Periti Industriali, che hanno voluto fortemente all'interno diciamo, del loro percorso che fanno insieme a questi giovani in Europa, portare in Italia per la prima volta questo evento. E chiaramente non poteva che essere fatto a Napoli, ma non perché Napoli sia la cartolina della pizza e il mandolino, ma perché Napoli, e lo scopriremo chiaramente con i relatori che oggi sono qua, è comunque un crocevia internazionale per le tecnologie. Ieri i ragazzi sono stati in due, vi chiamo ragazzi perché io ho capelli bianchi, quindi voi ragazzi, sono stati in due realtà che non sono, come dire, esaustive, perché sono stati alla Leonardo, sono stati all'Apple. Ma abbiamo tante realtà nella nostra città, e lo sentiremo, e mi ripeto su questo anche oggi, che sono un'eccellenza nel mondo della ricerca, dell'ingegneria. Abbiamo tante start-up, tanti giovani a Napoli, come lo ero io negli anni '80, quando, come dire, lavoravo nell'industria. Questa città ha una vocazione industriale che però ha saputo, come dire, avere il coraggio di trasformarsi. Negli anni bui negli anni '80 c'erano le industrie, oggi c'è non solo il Vesuvio, ma c'è tanta competenza tecnologica, e io ne sono fiero e orgoglioso di essere, diciamo, di questa città. Spero che chiaramente chi mi tradurrà dirà cose diverse da quelle che dico io, perché è sempre così. Prima di salire sul palco non so mai che cosa dire, ma poi chiaramente il tutto arriva facilmente. Grazie a Giuseppe, no, volevo solo ringraziarti, non voglio completare, sai che io quando prendo il microfono non te lo do facilmente. Giuseppe Rinaldi, non giornalista speaker, amico, avvocato, amministratore locale, grande competenza che, come dire, grazie all'amicizia poi si presta a fare anche questo mestiere di relatore. Quindi grazie Giuseppe, grazie di quello che fai con noi. Noi giriamo l'Italia ma anche l'Europa per portare un po' questa nostra competenza. Io personalmente rappresento le professioni tecniche, quindi ingegneri, architetti, periti agrari, agrotecnici, in un'altra associazione europea, CEPLIS, scusatemi, che è la conferenza delle professioni a livello europeo. I periti industriali da sempre guardano con attenzione quella che è l'agenda politica europea. Abbiamo una società di lobby in Europa che segue per noi l'agenda europea, perché modificare le norme in Europa significa poi, come dire, calarle nel nostro paese in modo, diciamo, corretto, applicabile, e quindi questo l'abbiamo come periti industriali come dire, immaginato, e poi l'abbiamo concretizzato ormai da tanti anni. Quindi l'Europa per noi, come dire, è la prima porta di accesso per poi portare in Italia le soluzioni sia tecnologiche ma di ampio respiro su tutto il processo produttivo. Io mi fermo qui perché non mi state capendo, quindi è inutile che continuo a parlare. Lo farà per me Martina. Scusatemi, un grande ringraziamento ai collaboratori e tutti del CNPI che hanno permesso con grande fatica di essere qua oggi.
Grazie. Thank you. Thank you, President.
Poi io non so che dice lei.
And thank you, Martina, especially because the translation will be completely different, because as usually Gianni talks, he prepares a speech and he talks completely different matters. So, good luck.
Good morning, everyone. So I'm going to say something that Giovanni Esposito said. So, dear colleagues, it's a great pleasure to welcome to you to the 56th High Conference, an important event every year for the growth and professional development of the young engineers and industrial technicians in Europe. This year, we are especially proud to host the conference here in Naples, a place where the culture and the innovation tradition meet. As a president of the National Council for Industry Technicians, I want to underline how important this event is, not only for our professionals, but for the whole European community. It is a unique opportunity to strengthen professional connection, share new ideas, and grow. The CNP has always had a strong European focus and closely follows the work of the European institutions, also through cooperation with European lobbying activities. We are also actively involved in CEPLIS, is the European Council of the Liberal Profession, which brings together and represents many technicians and professional organizations across Europe. In CEPLIS, Giovanni represents technical profession, helping to give our sector a stronger and united voice at the European level. Since 2019, CNP has a part of the European Young Engineers in the EIE network, which today includes more than 150,000 young professionals. We are here today also thanks to the Association of Young Industrial Technicians. We represent CNP with the EIE to show our commitment to the digital and green transition both in Italy and across Europe. The term of this conference, Engineer the Twin Transition, is very important. The digital and ecological transition is one of the biggest challenges of our time. And young engineers and technicians have a key role to play. We are ready to support this change with our skills and experience. I would also like to thank the local institution, especially the municipality of Naples and the ARPAC, for their support and attention to technician professionals. Their contribution and supportship has been essential for organizing the conference. Their work is very important for development of our sector and for promoting exceptional growth and innovation. I hope this conference will be a great opportunity for all of us to grow, share ideas, strengthen our vision, and build a professional that is more and more central to the challenge of the future. So thank you for all the beginning here and your commitment to making this event a success. I wish you all the inspiration, discussion, and fruitful collaboration. Thanks.
Thank you for the translation. Now, Gianni doesn't understand, but he's happy. And maybe just a little thing. Gianni invites you to enjoy Naples too, but I think you did already, right? Okay, let's go on. Now it's your turn, Timoteo. Timoteo Lamkin, President of the Association of Young Industrial Engineers. Please.
Hi. Good morning, everyone. I am Timoteo Lamkin. I am the president of ANGP. That's the Italian National Association of Young Engineer Experts. And on behalf of the organizing team, I would like to warmly welcome you to the official opening of the 56th EYE Conference 2026, Engineering the Twin Transition, here in the beautiful city of Naples. For those who may not know us yet, ANGP is a national association that brings together around 450 young Italian technical professionals with the aim of creating networks, promoting professional growth, enhancing technical skill, and bring new generation closer to the professional and institutional world. First of all, thank you for being here today. It's a really pleasure to see so many new faces. Your presence represents much more than participation in a conference. It represents a shared commitment towards the future of Europe innovation, sustainability, and international cooperation among young technical professionals. Sorry for my English. During these days, Naples has become a meeting point for ideas, cultures, experience, and vision coming from all across Europe. This conference is not only an opportunity to discuss technology, energy, and digital transformation, but also a chance to build connection, friendships, and long-lasting collaboration among professionals who will help shape the future of our societies. After this past week, many of you have probably started having nightmares every morning when reading the words "dear participant" in your inbox. And if emails were not enough, we also start messaging all of you on WhatsApp, probably looking a bit like conference stalker. But we sincerely thank you for the patience, for responding to our message, confirmation, reminders, dietary requests, bus schedule, and everything. Organizing is an international event of this scale is a major challenge, and your cooperation made everything much easier. I would like to express a special thanks to the National Council of Industrial Experts, CNPI, especially to our President, Giovanni Esposito, for strongly believing in this project and for the concrete support given to the organization of this conference. After I will translate, okay? I would also like to publicly thank him in front of the European audience for the commitment he carries forward together with the entire Council. Today, it's here to the Vice President Amos Giardino and the National Councillor Luca Fedele are all present with us. Luca, okay, perfect. A sincere thank you also goes to Fondazione Opificium, to all the staff, Camilla, Dina, Mikol, Martina, and Luca, to all our sponsors supporting this event, LED Advance, Expofin, and BDF Sicurezza, to the EYE, European Young Engineers, to the President, Celia Pedro, and to entire the EYE board, it's all here, for the collaboration, trust, and tremendous work through this month. An additional thank you naturally goes to all the volunteers that are here, speakers, and everyone who contribute behind the scene to make this event possible. Organizing an international conference of this scale require passion, teamwork, and dedication, and this event is a result of a collective effort. Naples is the perfect city for this conference, a city full of history, energy, creativity, and innovation. We hope that during these days you will not only enjoy the technical session and workshop, but also experience the spirit, culture, and hospitality of our city. We are living in a period of great transformation. The so-called twin transition, digital and ecological, represent one of the greatest challenges of our generation, and technical professionals have a fundamental role in guiding this change in a responsible and sustainable way. I wish all of you of inspiring discussion, valuable networking opportunities, and unforgettable experience here in Naples. Thank you once again for being with us. And now, with great pleasure, I officially declare the conference open. Welcome to Naples and enjoy the conference.
Thank you. Thank you to President Lumpkin. So, going on with the President, Celia, is your turn. Celia Pedro, President European Young Engineers Association. Please.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. First things, I would like to thank your host organization, Mr. President Giovanni Esposito, also Mr. President Timoteo Lankin, if I am saying it right. Without you, we couldn't do our conference as EYE. We are at our 56th conference, and this is only possible because we have organizations that host and promote this conference in place. I would like to also thank you to the speakers, of course, to the sponsorships that let this happen also, and most important, to our volunteers. So thank you all for being here. We have here more than 20 countries representing, so I'm really proud of having you all here. Thank you. I had also a speech prepared, but as President Giovanni, everything I think it was said, so I will improve and try to give you like a few words for us, a young community. We will be here talking about the innovation, technology, energy, and this is really important for us European countries at this point of the geopolitical conflicts that we all know. We are taking the steps to make everything automatic, machine to machine, improve the results, but we think that, and this is why EYE also exists, we still have to manage and make the connection between humans. So yes, we are engineers. Yes, we are doing and developing machine technology to improve our world, but these conferences are also about making human connections. So I would like to say to you all, enjoy the technical part, enjoy our speakers, make plenty of questions. They are the experts. We are here to learn about engineering, but also change your perspectives, change your ideas, exchange your ideas between you two, and make this conference matters. Thank you all and enjoy the conference.
Thank you. Thank you to you, Celia, especially because for us it's very important, the connection between humans. You are technicians, engineers, and so on, but I think this is one of the best things in this situation. So thank you to remind this aspect. So going on, President, I think it's time to the Ministry of, because we are waiting for, I think we can go on with the video of Ministry Gilberto Pichetto Fratin, the Minister for the Environment and Energy Security of Italy. Please. Go on.
Buongiorno a tutti, purtroppo non mi è possibile essere oggi con voi a Napoli, ma con questo mio breve saluto intendo esprimere il mio sostegno alla vostra iniziativa dedicata alla convergenza tra trasformazione digitale e transizione energetica. Siamo già infatti immersi in questa doppia transizione, quella energetica e quella digitale, e per questo diventa essenziale coinvolgere, mettere a confronto le conoscenze, i professionisti, gli esperti, le istituzioni. Bisogna insistere su temi e su sistemi che riguardano il monitoraggio ambientale, le soluzioni energetiche innovative per quello che è lo sviluppo sostenibile e per i territori. La doppia transizione deve quindi guidare un processo capace di coniugare sviluppo economico e tutela dell'ambiente, è una crescita culturale, di conoscenza. Si tratta di costruire un nuovo modello che mette al centro pertanto il grande tema della decarbonizzazione, quello dello sviluppo guidato, delle nuove tecnologie, dei bisogni delle comunità. Sono certo che da queste vostre iniziative arriveranno spunti, esempi concreti per mettere quindi questa trasformazione che stiamo vivendo, che è una trasformazione di conoscenza, e la trasformazione energetica, quindi la transizione energetica al servizio di quello che è lo sviluppo sostenibile. È un momento di grandissima velocità del cambiamento. È anche difficile mantenere il passo, ma è la grande sfida che abbiamo come Paese. Grazie e buon lavoro.
So thank you to the Gilberto Pichetto Fratin. As also Celia before was talking, the geopolitical situation is a bit difficult in this moment in all over Europe. So talking about this kind of things is really interesting. We have to find the solutions, otherwise. Anyway, let's go on. We finished the first part because a few people are lost in Naples maybe and they are not coming yet. So maybe they'll reach us later. No, so we can start with the first panel. We can start with Massimiliano Agata. Massimiliano is an expert of satellite data and Earth observation expert. So, Massimiliano, go on.
Hello, everybody. Prova, prova.
Okay. Okay. No, they are.
No, no.
Just a second. They start the. They. Okay. They have the meeting to discuss about the vote, the election of the committee. No, okay. I don't know if we have to wait or we can. Okay, I think. Okay, not everyone. Let's go on. Thank you for the explication. Prego.
Good morning, everybody. Feel free to fall asleep around the 1,000 slides. Okay. As you can see, this image was taken about 12 hours ago. And there is no one photographer, no one drone. It's an image free. And this is what we're talking about today. Why satellite data, but mostly satellite, are so important? They are a very neutral eye in the sky, because when You can observe the Earth from above. You have no boundaries. You have no political borders. And the same sensor that images a conflict zone, in the same time can see a forest or a facility. And satellite do this continuously and at global scale. And this make the satellite data uniquely trustworthy source of environmental monitoring, disaster response, and policy enforcement. We could imagine this as a distributed sensor network with global coverage, free data access, and in some cases, a daily or sub-daily revisit. No. Let's talk about the provider's landscape of satellite. We have 3 tiers. One should be considered as a public institutional by ESA, Copernicus program, NASA with the Landsat program, JAXA with ALOS, and EUMETSAT for extremely important about meteorological system. And they had free and open access, and they have a very long time series. Tier 2 is specialized on meteorological data. EUMETSAT, NOAA, and NuGen, and they have a high temporal resolution distributed in minutes every day. And there is the last tier, mostly commercial, and one of the most important is Maxar, now named Vantor, capable of give us resolution image of from 5 centimeters to 30 centimeters. This is the backbone of the Europe Earth observation. And the satellite mostly used are Sentinel-1, which is a SAR kind of satellite, a synthetic aperture radar. And is capable of observation day and night with a 30 meter resolution for each pixel of observation. The Sentinel-2 is a 30-band optical multispectral images and is capable of a 10-meter resolution for each pixel and has a resolution of 5 days, a revisit of 5 days. Sentinel-3 is a radiometer and is mostly used for observation of the ocean and all kind of water of the planet. Sentinel-5P, which is a troponin spectrometer, and it's used for atmospheric chemistry. So Sentinel-6 and about 2027 and then 2029, ESA has in program to launch the Sentinel-7, which is focused to measure directly the CO2 emission. Okay, let's talk about where are all those satellites. We have they are at different altitude and are grouped in category as LEO, about low Earth observation orbit, and MEO, middle Earth observation, GEO, and EO, and so on. What are the sensor type? each sensor has a specific focus. The synthetic aperture radar is useful when you have a cloudy sky and is capable of go through the clouds, and is useful for night and day vision, and mostly use of this satellite is for flood and deformation and crop monitoring. Also, we have the optical in multispectral imager, which is a 30 sensor bands, hyperspectral imaging spectrometer, and thermal air and altimeter. I have, okay. But are we capable to get all of this data? Obviously, yes. There is a program, Copernicus Data Space, which is the main European portal. It's a browser-based explorer, but also give access to API to connect every kind of framework to get those data. Those are the main access to free satellite data. But we need to go through those data, and we have to get raw signal to an analysis-ready data. So we have different levels of data in the ground station of the satellite data. L0, which is the raw data. This is not useful for ready to production analysis, but is very useful to deep learning and machine learning intelligence analysis. Other levels are for, in same way, let me say, are already processed by the ground station, so we can have a first impression of what those data means. What are the mostly applications?
And maybe so as process the different parts and so on. We go back. What are the technologies and business for this issue? Basically, we have four groups. One is the raster data, which is a two-dimensional. That's the data which is a two-dimensional array, where it's basically, as the domain nature is apps. Vector data our we can probably make sense of what was last. So we can convert this data into polygons, spines, polys, where able to put somewhere in a map, and these are the boundaries, both networks and pillars. And we also have to think, remember the system because each region or each country has its own CFIs and most important especially this part of the IT solution country, most of the more important you say only pixel file. So we have to go through this kind of addition to as I mentioned, it was so far, which how we get and develop think with each part. There are thousands of from only years. Now we see it's about not to get through. And there are few cases all the products, slow, which is sometimes and design and quality, stability, this as a law that set the process supervised. So especially in the first part of the unit, it's very dangerous. As a step, that was option on relation with my about mostly the years. And there's item system how possibly
are the framework with the better integration, but we are few events. Okay. So which is the flow to go through an analysis of satellite data? First of all, we need to perform an image classification. Assign so a length cover, labels to pixels. Pixels depend on the sensor of the satellite. Repeat, they are about 10 meters, 30 meters, or in some case in a centimeter. Or we go through unsupervised k-means clustering. Modern approach uses neural network, convolutional neural network, and so on. We have employed change detection model, which is compare fundamentally multi-temporal image to detect deforestation, urban expansion, fluid extent, and bit temporal subtraction or deep learning. In SAR is the interferometric SAR, combining two SAR acquisition to measure scale surface displacement, earthquake, volcanic uplift, and subsidence. In a land as Naples and the Campi Flegrei is one of the most technologies and interpretation of phenomena by earthquake and volcanic zone. And also very important is the ability to acquire time series analysis. because time series analysis is not only for a regression system about past data, but is useful for prediction. Have a 10 years observation of a land, of a crop, could predict us what could be happen to the future. And so, as mentioned before, machine learning, deep learning, convolutional neural network, vision transformer for semantic segmentation, object detection, and super resolution. And those are the key for a very practical and useful analytical methodologies. In my opinion, those are the three things to remember. The data are very free and are very abundant. We have a petabyte of data. Those data are not only numbers. Those data, we need to, in some cases, reading and understanding those data to give explanation of those data. The most tools are now accessible. So Earth observation is very important in those days to climate policy, agriculture, insurance, infrastructure, defense, and smart cities. Think of it about as we interact with the physical world, so we need physical data and consistent data. Thank you so much.
No, era spento. So thank you, Massimiliano. First of all, if you want, at the end of the first panel, you'll be able to ask a question, just maybe, okay? And information about the other people are going in the other room because they have the election and some meetings about the association, every country, and so on. But they will be back later when they finish, I hope, I suppose. Okay? So, going on with Adriano Amendola. Adriano is an expert of ARPAC. ARPAC is the regional agency of environmental of Campania region, and is an expert of dati, air quality monitoring. So he take care about the quality of the air. You know how important is this job and how important to collect the right, the reliable data. Okay, so thank you, Adriano.
Good morning, everyone. I would like to begin by thanking the organizing team for putting this event together and for inviting ARPAC Campania to contribute to today's discussion on engineering the twin transition. My name is Adriano Amendola, of course. I am a technical officer at ARPAC Campania, and I work in MOAR, the operational unit responsible for air quality monitoring within the regional environmental monitoring system. Before I focus on air quality, I think it is useful to point out that ARPAC Campania's work is much broader than this specific field. This is my field. Today, however, I will focus on air quality because this is my direct technical and operational field. I will try to bring a practical perspective based on the daily work involved in managing air quality monitoring networks and data. This topic of this session is Earth orbit observation in environmental intelligence. From the point of view of an environmental agency, I think there is one important message to stress. Advanced technologies, satellite observations, environmental models, and AI applications can be extremely powerful, but they need to be connected to reliable measurements collected on the ground. Is it correct? In air quality monitoring, ARPAC Campania manages a complex and distributed technical infrastructure. Through this infrastructure, we monitor the main components of air quality, including gases, pollutants, particulate matter, meteorological condition, and specific laboratory analysis on the particulate samples. So when we talk about ground-based data, we are not talking about isolated measurements. We are talking about a complete data chains. Instrument maintenance, calibration, acquisition, quality control, validation, and technical interpretation are all part of the same process. In our ordinary air quality monitoring activities, ARPAC Campania does not directly process satellite data. Our work is mainly based on ground-based monitoring networks, field measurements, data acquisition, quality control, validation, and technological interpretation. This may sound like a more traditional part of environmental intelligence, but I believe it remains absolutely essential. If we want digital tools, AI, satellite products, and environmental models to be truly useful for public decision-making, they need to be compared and checked against reliable data measured on the ground. Ground-based data are essential because they describe real local conditions. To be useful, however, they must come from reliable instruments, clear procedures, and regular quality checks. This is the role of environmental agency. We do not simply collect numbers. We manage the whole data chain from measurements and quality control to validation, interpretation, and support public decisions. This is especially true for air quality monitoring. Data can support environmental planning, public health protection, emergency management, and long-term trend analysis. So data quality is not a secondary issue. This is the foundation of the whole process. And it is not only good technical practice, it is required by the regulatory framework from European and national legislation to operational QA/QC procedures. Regarding AI, our current experience is still at the early stage, but it is concrete. At the moment, we mainly use AI as a support tool for basic data processing, for developing scripts and software application, and for optimizing some operational activities. A concrete example is the automation of technical reports for mobile laboratory monitoring campaigns. These reports include processed data, graphs, table, and summary information. Of course, this does not replace technical evaluation. Technician remains responsible for interpreting data, assessing a critical issue, and validating the final report. Automation simply reduces operative work and gives them more time to focus on data quality and environmental interpretation. Another possible area of development concern OPAS, is the software we use daily. The open air system is a shared IT platform with the Italian National System for Environmental Protection. OPAS support the integrated management of air quality monitoring networks. In the future, this could also provide a useful basis for AI application in predictive maintenance. Modern analyzers already collect many diagnostic parameters, and these parameters describe the internal status of the instruments and may contain early signs of instability or malfunctions. The challenge is that there are too many of them to be analyzed manually in a continuous and systematic way. So from this perspective, as part of future developments being discussed within the Permanent Technical Committee, AI tools could be evaluated to detect anomalies, recurring patterns, or early warning signals before an instrument malfunction affects data availability or data quality. Of course, these would be tools to support maintenance and technical decision-making, not to replace human evaluation. More generally, AI has great potential in environmental monitoring. It can support the analysis of large dataset, anomaly detection, quality control, maintenance planning, report generation, modeling, and season support system. The example I have mentioned come from air quality monitoring, because this is my direct field of work. However, the same principle can apply to other areas of environmental protection, where data are becoming larger, more diverse, and more complex. At the same time, these technologies must be implemented carefully and responsibly. AI should help technicians and institutions work better, while human supervision, technical responsibility, and institutional accountability must remain central. This is particularly important in the environmental field. Environmental data are not just technical outputs. They can influence public decisions, environmental policies, and communication with citizens. Looking ahead, I believe the real opportunity lies in integration. Ground-based monitoring networks, satellite observation, environmental models, AI, and digital platforms should not be treated as separated worlds. They should work together as a part of the same environmental intelligence system. However, this integration can only work if it is based on traceable, properly validated, and high-quality data. For this reason, ground-based environmental monitoring should not be seen as outdated. On the contrary, it is one of the foundations that make new technologies credible, verifiable, and truly useful. Emerging technologies can expand our ability to observe, interpret, and understand the environment, but they still need ground-based data in order to remain connected to real conditions. This, in my opinion, is one of the main contributions that the environmental agency can offer to the twin transition, not only technological innovation, but reliable environmental knowledge to support better public decisions. Thank you.
Thank you to Adriano Amendola. We started this first panel with Massimiliano. Massimiliano talked to us about satellite, the importance of the data coming from the satellite, and how the system grew up in these last years, because you told us when you were younger, all these things, there wasn't. So at the same time, with Adriano, we have listened to you how ARPAC Campania work on the ground, but how important is the connection between the satellite data and the work on the ground, because altogether with AI, if you use all these things carefully and responsibly, I take note about this, we can do a good job together and support, especially for supporting in your work as ARPA, to support the public decision of the local authority, for instance, and not only about the quality of air, that is the field, your field, no? You told us, but also in other things. We think about water, we think about geological disaster that in our country are so frequent, and so on. So thank you for your job, and to explain also a person that is an ignorant like me, to understand these difficult things. So we can go on. Meanwhile, is with us the General Director of ARPAC Campania, and I invite him to take... prego, la invito, sì, in italiano, scusate, invito Luigi Stefano Sorvino, direttore generale di ARPA Campania.
Buongiorno a tutti, mi limiterò nella mia qualità di direttore e quindi rappresentante pro tempore dell'Agenzia regionale per la protezione dell'ambiente della Campania a rivolgere un sentito e sincero indirizzo di saluto ai lavori di questo simposio, di questa conferenza di livello internazionale dei giovani ingegneri sulla tematica della transizione, che è oggi una tematica di rilievo assoluto, di rilievo epocale, di rilievo globale, che è la transizione ecologica ed ambientale e la transizione digitale. Ci sono delle grandi trasformazioni di livello planetario, peraltro siamo in una fase storica che fa seguito alla terribile esperienza della pandemia e quindi superato questo evento si sono messi in movimento dei processi di trasformazione estremamente importanti. Noi operiamo su compiti di tutela dell'ambiente, conoscenza, monitoraggio, controllo nell'ambito della prevenzione collettiva a tutela dell'ambiente, che poi si coniuga e si collega alla tutela della salute. Siamo un ente tecnico, ma operiamo spesso in partenariato con enti, organismi ed espressioni della comunità scientifica. E naturalmente un elemento fondamentale è la sinergia tra l'operato delle amministrazioni, degli enti pubblici tecnici, la comunità professionale, quindi le figure tecniche, e la comunità scientifica, perché naturalmente soltanto dalle sinergie, dallo scambio di esperienze, dalla collaborazione, dalla interazione dei dati è possibile promuovere delle acquisizioni conoscitive, quindi andare avanti nello sviluppo delle conoscenze. Oggi poi c'è un tema fondamentale che è quello anche della competenza e del sapere interdisciplinare. Quindi le discipline non possono procedere chiuse in se stesse, ma c'è una esigenza di contaminazione e di confronto. Anche nel settore ambientale, ad esempio, c'è una necessaria sinergia tra quelle che sono le competenze ingegneristiche, geologiche, pianificatorie, naturalistiche delle scienze ambientali, dei chimici, dei biologi, dei fisici, perché occorre appunto una capacità di dialogo e di approfondimento interattivo. Quindi io naturalmente vi rivolgo un caloroso saluto per questa giornata che sarà sicuramente interessante, quindi con una partecipazione di giovani ingegneri di livello internazionale ma anche vedo espressioni della comunità scientifica. Ringrazio il nostro dottor Amendola che come ARPA ha dato un contributo tecnico che non ho avuto modo di ascoltare appena entrando in sala, e naturalmente siamo a disposizione per gli aspetti di nostra competenza a concorrere a ogni forma di confronto e di approfondimento. Buona giornata e buon fine settimana.
So thank you to Luigi Stefano Sorvino, the General Director. He say thank you to all of you for the participation, for Presidente Gianni Esposito and all the others that organized this really interesting day, talking with these young technicians come from all over Europe. There are more than 20 countries here represented, and is very proud that ARPAC Campania is here and can support our job. It talk about also the importance of the cooperation between all the technicians, all the different engineers, chemistry, geologists, and so on, because it's really important, especially in this day. He used the word contamination. I don't know if contamination is the right translation, but in Italiano, contaminazione, no? To stay all together, to share the experience, to share the knowledge. And this is the way the general director say to go on all together and to improve the quality of our jobs. And maybe I forgot something, but as I told you at the beginning of the speech, I'm not a translator, especially simultaneous. And I think these are the main things that the general director say. And he also say thank you to all the people who told today here, especially university and other specialists that are on the table, on the stage. And ARPAC Campania is at your disposal for every question about the roles and the possibility that a regional agency take care in this part of the Italy. So if there are some questions about the first panel, we are ready to give you some. And the president is asking to me that he would like to know where are you from. So maybe I can give you the ice cream. Where are you from?
Hello, I'm Natella Shinzada. I'm from Azerbaijan. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Walter Vlad. I'm from Germany, live in Switzerland now. And I have a question, maybe if I can ask it. So do you have specific examples from your work with recent insights that you've gotten about the either the environmental situation in Napoli? For both. So both related to the air quality, the pollution, but also then the satellite imagery. What are some specific insights that you've recently come to through analyzing the data? Could you share a bit about this, please? Thank you.
Okay, we have a networks, so with a lot of instruments that measure every day, 24 hours a day. So what we do is to validate this data every day. So, for example, today I manage the data of the yesterday data. So to produce a report Okay, what we would really like to do is a forecast. So I know exactly what yesterday, how was the air quality, but what we would, as information, is how air quality will be tomorrow. And probably next 2 or 3 days, but it is not easy. And it's very important to have very reliable data on the ground.
Yeah. And could you, for example, also see if there's any changes in air quality with the visit of the Pope from tomorrow, where a lot of roads were closed?
But let me say about insights or air pollution is a truly challenging and complex model because it not depends only from all those events that happen on the ground. It depends on the wind, buffer of kilometers, because maybe I could live in a good place for air quality, but at 50 kilometers, I have a facility, and when there are some condition, meteorological condition, all those pollution of the facility can reach the place. And this is where AI is very useful to observe and learn before could release any kind of convolutional neural network to learn and give a speech to those phenomena, because it's very, very complex as model. We have a pilot in Italy on about the water quality index and oil spill, but not to only focus on measuring, but to predict where those oil spill or garbage or littering waste or what else could reach coastal zone or could affect a marine area.
Okay, thank you. Go on.
Buongiorno a tutti. I'm Shkipa Asani, electrical engineer from North Macedonia. I have a question for Mr. Massimiliano Agata. I checked online a startup company called Just on Earth, which is the implementation of AI in your activity. And I saw an example, like a project called Agri Project. Could you give some insights on the effect that AI has had in this type of projects? Since I smoke sometimes, and I saw that this is a project related like to the production of tobacco. And if you can give also other examples.
Thank you for your question. And yes, this is a project start about 4 years ago with the supervision of British American Tobacco, because tobacco culture is a very water cannibal culture. And our model, we have observed the last 50 years of each crop of tobacco in the world to produce a system capable to focus the man on field to point water only where is needed. And the same is with the chemical amendments that are needed on the ground. And we help this kind of Agri 4.0 to predict every kind of stress, predict about from 1 week to 15 days before it will be happen. And last year we have monitoring about 6 300 hectares of tobacco as a pilot project. And we have produced a digital twin where, on our own proprietary AI. We do not use Gemini, GPT. We have invested a lot on the past years to have our own AI models. And last year, I don't remember if those data are public or not, but on some field we have figured out a save of about 40% of water and about 25% of amendment chemistry on the field.
Thank you so much. I just also want to thank them for being here today. I mean, you could have gone to the beach, but you found time to be here with us today.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Mathilde from France, living in Germany. I also have a question. So the different reports and data and analysis that you produce, obviously they're available to a lot of people, like farmers, I'm guessing, can use that quite a lot. But I was thinking also, like, in terms of public health, as I think someone mentioned it earlier, like when you on a regular basis give recommendations to like politicians to say, oh, today we have a really bad air pollution, so maybe we have to restrict the traffic and stuff. And do you often face the issue that some politicians are like, oh yeah, but it's not going to be popular, so I cannot do this, or blah, 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 or climato-scepticism or something like this? Should I read it slower?
He's talking about the responsibilities of the local authorities, because when you check the situation, you say to the mayor or la maire, you have to stop the traffic or you have to close the... no, you give them the data, and the final decision is of the local authorities. But that's why in Italy we have plenty of regions and cities that doesn't respect the European standard. This is an infraction, and we are under infraction. But maybe
no, actually we just collect and validate data, but we don't make any decision. We just put them for the public decision. So authority choose to do something, but actually maybe we need a coordination, because probably with the same level of PM10, for example, an authority do something and another one do exactly the opposite. So probably this is the heart of the problem.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, hi guys, here is Miray Savaş. I am originally from Istanbul, Turkey, but I live in Munich and study chemical energy engineering at TUM. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Hi there, Moritz, born in Germany, working in Denmark, developing combine harvesters. And I would like to also grab on that conversation quite quickly. So, you know, Germany used to be the country of the cars. And 50 years ago, it was maybe our parents that were walking on those motorways. And I wanted to come once again more to this acting point, because 50 years ago, they were walking in the first oil crisis. Now it's the second one, and everything our government does is say they're giving a tank discount. And I don't feel we didn't learn. We had 50 years to act. Now I live in Denmark. There you have the cars. They're incredibly expensive. Most of the people cycle to work if they can. And to be honest, yes, I see you need to collect data and validate. I actually do simulation models on super high performance clusters. And that's why I'm always a little bit allergic when someone says the word digital twin, because it seems very fake to me. So I don't need AI to see right now you'll have a pollution problem in your city. It's pretty dirty. You can, with your AI, you can make more reports. But my question is really, how do we come more into an acting state there? You know, on the other hand, you have cheap public transport. The metro is really good, but I'm curious how would you then connect it? Like there, we would like to see some examples. How did you, with all your commitment, your work, your dedication, how did you actually influence a public decision? Do you have any examples on that? I think that was a little bit the questions we had before. Yeah, thanks.
I want to point from far to come to your question.
Not too far.
We have about 67 hours. And
The moderator, I have to do my job.
now we live in a world of there are so many data, so many numbers, so many kind of measurement, so many kind of whatever. This is the perfect moment to get all those data and learn a new language. Those data is a speech of natural places and how the human behavior is the very unpredictable model for those data. And we have do another pilot in a lot of cities in Italy with a campaign named Piccoli gesti grandi crimini. Small gestures, big crimes. Focused on count, on a predictable count of how many butts of smokers we can collect on the ground and where. This is a multidisciplinary approach that has come posso dire, converged a lot of different specialists like psychologists, urban planner, automotive vendor, because in the new cars there are no more okay, so when you drive, when you are in traffic or you slow down, a smoker open the windows and throw out the butts and so on. This is the real challenge of every aspect of whatever is observation, because observation without a further comprehension of what we observe is useless. So non ho capito.
Oh, sorry. Observation without action is also useless.
Exactly.
That's what is my question leading to.
For the second part.
That's a nice move there.
Can give the same answer. He's asking something different. Who make the decision at the end of this job? No? We have plenty of numbers of.
Yes, you have a lot of numbers. I get that, but I just wanted to have one example where your number together with, because society is not just the engineers who need to talk together, not split, right? I get that. But one example where you, with your numbers and your contribution, lead to a public decision making, where you can say, hey, this decision was done with our support, and it's going now into action.
Mostly, almost here in Italy, are large company that could move decision more better than government, and so because when a great company has a needs of whatever, maybe could move faster than every kind of decision of
okay.
local.
Then we just finish here, but it means you don't have a concrete example from the public.
I think there are. I'm not an expert, but I think there are. For instance, in completely different field, talking about electronical waste. No, why are you smiling? Sorry.
No, it's fine. Yeah.
No, tell me. Maybe I made a mistake. Sorry.
No,
No, I'm trying to give to you an answer about
Yes, yes.
a concrete example,
Okay, sorry,
if you
yeah.
want. If you don't want, I don't care. Go.
No. I'm sorry, maybe I'm also taking the event too long, so I should go on.
No, ma io ti stavo solo spiegando, volevo spiegare un esempio. Sì, l'ho capito.
Actually, we are just an arm. You know, we are not the brain. I mean, as ARPAC, I'm talking about our agency. So we don't make the decisions. We just make measurement, a good quality measurement. So this is our job. Then we absolutely give this data to everyone, so everyone can evaluate about data and not others. I'm so sorry. I can't ask this question because I am not involved in this kind of stuff.
Yeah, let's maybe move on. I had the feeling that the question was more about how you convey the urgency of the impact of the measurements you do. But yeah. Okay, so my name is Dries. I'm from Belgium and I'm a mechanical engineer.
Hello, my name is Janella. I'm from Ireland.
Ciao, hi, I'm Paola, I'm from Naples. Sono di Napoli, sono una studente di ingegneria informatica alla Federico II, IT engineering student at Federico II. I have a question that I can formulate both in Italian and in English, so it will be easier. Parto con l'italiano. Siccome sono sempre stata interessata anche agli argomenti, diciamo, che riguardano la geologia, ho sentito prima che sia l'osservazione via satellite che eventualmente anche l'ARPAC lavorano per l'osservazione, diciamo, del terreno, del suolo, l'innalzamento, bradisismo. Siamo un terreno vulcanico, quindi ne sappiamo qualcosa. La mia domanda è, quindi penso che lavoriate anche con l'INGV, sia anche per il monitoraggio della qualità dell'aria, eventualmente anche per la prevenzione vulcanica, deduco. Quindi la mia domanda è come funziona eventualmente questo monitoraggio, sia da un punto di vista vulcanico, e se c'è una previsione anche per cercare di estendere questo monitoraggio anche alla prevenzione eventualmente anche di altri eventi, eventualmente sismici, e rendere quindi anche i piani di evacuazione più efficaci. Se potete ripeto anche la domanda in inglese. My question was, I noticed that both the satellites and air quality monitoring here, especially here in Naples, we are a volcanic region. They are used to prevent volcanic and events and natural disasters. I'm wondering if working together with INGV, which is our association to monitor the Vesuvius and volcanic and earthquake situation, both in Naples and in the whole Italy, if they are working also to spread this and develop this partnership with them to avoid also different natural disasters, and maybe to predict sooner a natural volcanic also disaster, to make evacuation plans also more efficient.
Rispondo prima in italiano in modo che faccio una... Allora, diciamo che tutti gli organi coinvolti negli ultimi anni stanno comunicando molto di più. INGV, ISPRA, cioè il fatto che oggi si possano mettere a disposizione dei dati anche per altri è un'apertura che fino a qualche tempo fa non c'era, perché il dominio scientifico di ricerca era sempre, come dire, autoreferenziato. Come dire, si lavorava per la ricerca, non si riusciva a spiegare all'esterno cosa stesse succedendo, o quantomeno c'era un approccio sempre basato sul partire dal presupposto che chi legge una serie di dati all'altro lato debba poterli leggere, come dire, di primo impatto. Oggi che cosa sta succedendo? C'è un'apertura appunto multidisciplinare, ogni parte del globo, cioè c'è molta più connessione oggi fra ricercatori di istituti, ricercatori indipendenti, specialisti, ma c'è soprattutto un pezzetto che io credo che porterà un tipo di modello previsionale del genere nei prossimi 5-6 anni, perché prima non c'era assolutamente la possibilità che chiunque potesse utilizzare un AI, fondamentalmente. Oggi le grandi aziende che permettono a chiunque di avere un prompt nel quale posso cominciare a fare delle cose, dietro quel prompt ci sono farm che sono mostruose, energivore, e hanno una capacità di computazione che fino a ma fino a 5 anni fa non c'era, a disposizione di tutti. Questo poi introduce un altro elemento che riguarda, però il senso è questo.
No, bisogna tradurre adesso.
Sì. So about I think that this kind of provisional model maybe it could be thinkable in about 5-6 years from now, because before even the research institute does have not access to a powerful cloud of AI like from 5 years to now, and this is a boost to share information about the different kind of scientists, a different kind of communication of speakers of science, and this is a new model and a new process that, in my opinion, could be a new model in about 5-6 years.
Thank you. We continue. Buongiorno, io sono Andrea Lugini, vengo da Roma. Good morning, I'm Andrea Lugini, I'm from Rome. Ho una domanda, anch'io la faccio prima in italiano e poi provo a farla in inglese, riguardo le immagini satellitari. Prima ci ha fatto vedere che ci sono diverse compagnie che hanno, quindi di conseguenza, diversi satelliti a diverse orbite, ma ci sono dei software che alcuni sono open source, altri invece sono privati. Quindi mi chiedo, i satelliti di queste compagnie comunicano tra di loro e condividono i dati oppure no? E se lo fanno, perché alcuni software sono open source e altri invece sono limitati? So my question was, we saw before that there are a lot of satellites all around the Earth orbit, and I was wondering, since all of these companies has their own satellites, but there are so many softwares, which some of them are open source and others are commercial, so you need to pay an account. Does those satellites communicate and share the information with each other or no? And if they do, why some softwares are open source and other are by payment?
Partendo dai software, starting from software, there are Windows and there are Linux. One software is paid, another is free. This is more a marketing question that not a technical question, in my opinion, obviously. And about satellite data, they don't communicate between. Is to us to get all those data and find the KPI to make a relation from all those kind of different data, because same as the open programs like Copernicus is free because Commission Europe the most funds to those programs are our taxes, our European taxes. So it's freely, but not completely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Manuel Masi, I'm from Siena, so Italy. Ho una domanda, però poi non riuscirò a
In
tradurla.
English, in English.
Non riuscirò a tradurla. Quindi volevo chiedere al direttore di ARPA se a livello di ARPA...
Il
queste-
direttore di ARPA è uscito, eh? Lui è un tecnico di
responsabile.
Scherzo, scherzo. The director went out.
Se anche a livello di Toscana sono implementate le stesse cose e soprattutto a livello tecnico, siccome io mi occupo anche di emissioni in atmosfera, come si può sia contribuire all'implementazione dei dati e soprattutto come si può usufruire di questi dati a
Thank
livello
you.
tecnico.
He's from Siena. He's asking, is also in Tuscany is the same situation, and how is possible to improve this job with the collecting all this data?
Actually, in general, all the regional agency had to respect the law. So it's the law that say us what we have to do. And this is what we do. We do. So in Tuscany or in Campania is exactly the same. About the emission, I am not expert in emission, but normally we collect the same data set because we need to give all the data set to European community and also to the government. So we have to do exactly the same.
Quindi a livello tecnico mio personale, il contribuire è quando faccio i campionamenti per le aziende e poi li trasmetto ad ARPAT. Solo in quel caso, se no, campionamenti interni no.
Non ho capito la domanda, scusa.
Allora, in effetti per tutti Ok, no, rispondo prima. Okay.
L'inglese lo capisco, lo parlo peggio, però lo capisco.
Perché ha fatto un'altra domanda che andrebbe tradotta.
I know, but we got in Italian.
Basically, digital transition for all those kind of administration. It's there is a roadmap of share information in and out between a common API system. So it's not a task that we could see in a short term, but is a complex operation we are working on.
Thank you.
Buongiorno, sono Alessandro Razzolini, faccio parte dell'Ordine Periti Industriali di Prato. I'm part of the Technical Experts Order for the Prato province, but I don't have any questions, so I will
Thank you.
Thank you.
Prego. No, okay, if you don't, if we finish this line, I suggest to stop for now because the university is waiting for us. It's not nice to do this. Federico II, University of Naples, Professore Pierluigi Guerriero. Pierluigi Guerriero is going to talk about the smart energy system, and I studied a bit your speech, and how to manage energy more efficiently and sustainably. So the way that it's possible to do this, and I think, Professor, especially in this moment, as we say from the beginning, it's really interesting and important for us, this kind of application in solar system, in panel, in photovoltaic, and so on.
Now? Okay. That's this one. First of all, good morning to everyone. Okay. My name is Pierluigi Guerriero, as said. I'm an electronic engineer.
okay, also a professor at the University of Naples, Federico II, and my research activity is focused on renewable energy and in particular on photovoltaic plants. Today, my presentation is not intended to be a lecture, of course. It should be very brief. The idea is to give an interpretation of the actual situation in terms of technology. Okay, it's something useful for you that are young engineers. Okay, and to give you some discussion point for today. Okay, first of all, let me thank the National Council for the opportunity to be being here today to discuss about smart energy systems. But first of all, what smart energy system stands for? Okay, this is a complex system. It's composed by different parts. Okay, loads, of course, but also energy sources, photovoltaics, wind, but also thermal sources, and energy storage systems, commonly based on batteries, but also on supercapacitors, I don't know, fuel cells, okay? The performance of this kind of system depending on the fact that each single part operates properly in a reliable and predictable way, okay? So the main idea is that each part shares with the others information, okay, to be fed to a high-level algorithm to optimize the performance of the whole system, okay? So the need of a smart maintenance, operation and maintenance service, okay? This is the main aspect of our presentation. To have an idea about the impact of the operating and maintenance systems in photovoltaic plants, that is our use case, okay? We can say that this is a strategic segment of the whole photovoltaic market, and now is growing at a rate of about 10% per year, okay? Is very, very important for the photovoltaic industry at the moment. The importance of this kind of service is due to the fast increase in terms of installed plant over the world. Okay, and also to the improvements in some specific techniques. For example, drone, artificial intelligence, and the strategy involving digital twins. Okay. In this presentation, I'd like to speak about monitoring system and to arrive to focalize, to identify some technology an engineer have to acquire to dominate this kind of application, okay? Imagine a PV plant, okay? A PV plant is a particular kind of system composed by very elementary issue. In a PV plant, you find individual PV modules connected in series to form strings, then strings in parallel to form array. In a system, we have thousands of individual PV modules, photovoltaic modules. If a fault occurs, okay, I have to detect the faults, but I have to localize the fault, okay, the fault, then to classify the fault, I mean to identify the fault source, and at the end to try to quantify the energy losses okay, to have an idea of economic loss, okay? Because just if I know the economic loss, I can justify an intervention on the plant, okay? You can think that the human cost is the higher cost in maintenance. Okay, so according to this definition, we can try to compare different approaches. Okay, first of all, the more traditional one, visual inspection. And human operator goes to on the field just to see if something is wrong. Okay, it's a time costly. It's actually very costly. Okay, it's not effective because a lot of faults cannot be detected by visual inspection. Okay, and the results of the inspection is not immediately available for a database, for example, or a SCADA system. Okay, so it's not effective. We can do it better. Okay, for example, using thermal imaging. That is an image approach. So it is done with intelligence, artificial intelligence. Okay, the main idea is that on a solar cell you can imagine a balance, okay, among the input energy, the light, okay, the internal energy, I mean the temperature, okay, the heat of the, and the output energy, I mean the electrical energy. If the electrical energy decreases, the temperature should increase with a given light impinging on the cell. Okay, so any fault corresponds to a local increase in temperature. Okay, so this is very effective. Moreover, each kind of fault has a specific path. Okay, so an AI module can very easily classify the fault. Okay, because for each thermal image I can identify the panel. Also, the identification is good. Okay, the problem is that it's not possible to translate, to have an information about the power, the electrical power loss. Okay. Moreover, this kind of analysis is performed with manual thermal camera, while the human operator. Okay, so it's costly. Okay, we can solve this issue. Yes, we can use drones, for example. Okay, this is a very fast analysis. Thousands of panels can be analyzed in an hour. Okay, it's a costly effect, and we can solve also improve the capability of this analysis to provide information about the energy losses by using a digital twin. Okay, based on electrothermal model of the solar cells. Okay, this is a new an innovation actually. Okay, we can pass to another approach. Okay, you can think that the solar cell is an electronic device actually. Okay, so the better way to characterize this device to provide an electrical characterization is correct. Okay, the more effective approach is the tracing of the current voltage curve of a PV module. Okay, for each kind of fault we have a specific modification of this curve. So it's very, very simple to identify the kind of fault. Okay, in which way I can obtain this curve? I can use a high granularity approach. I mean, I can install a sensor on each individual module in the plant. Okay, this is a device, it's an IoT device, Internet of Things device, so it's a wireless sensor. okay, is able to measure the operating point, the actual behavior, also the current connected to the photo generation or the open circuit voltage connected to the temperature of the module, okay, and that is easy to compare the behavior of two panels in a string, okay. In this case, the red one is well performing, the blue one is not well performing because it's shaded. Why is it shaded? Because the power loss is limited to a specific time window in the day and as repetitively over the week, for example. Okay. This approach is good. Yes, it's actually the best one in terms of accuracy. Okay, but it's costly because for each individual panel, I have to consider a specific electron. Okay, can scale the problem, can reduce the granularity. Yes, it's possible, considering a string level approach. Okay, I have different strings in the plant with the same orientation with respect to the sun. So all the strings are supposed to operate evenly. Okay, I can compare a string, for example, the red one here, with the best performing, the red one, or to the expected behavior obtained by a model or a AI module, okay? And I can also quantify the losses, because it's the difference, the area between the two curves is very easy, okay? I can obtain a quantification of losses all over the year. Okay. I can obtain also a real-time loss mapping, okay, to be used in a SCADA system. Okay, it's very, very easy. This is something we did in our department a few years ago. So it's a research solution. It's not ready for the market. Not now, okay, it's also available on the market, okay. Some power electronics vendors, okay, they provide a similar approach available on the market. For example, just to have an idea, SolarEdge provide this kind of monitoring system. A device, an electronic device, embedded on each module in the PV plant. The industry is able to provide this electronics at a very low price. Okay, we have an interaction with the inverter, with the energy conversion system, a communication very structured with a power line, Ethernet, Wi-Fi, cellular, mobile technology. Okay, then we have a monitoring system to collect and analyze the data, and a SCADA system to organize the intervention, to schedule the intervention, so to manage all the data. So this is what we find actually on the market, and this aspect have to be all dominated by the engineer, actually. This is how it looks like. Okay. Also, the demographic approach can be found now on the market. Okay, we can ask for an analysis with a drone. Okay, all the data are in real time collected in a database. In AI-based module can analyze the images just to classify the faults, and reporting to a management system, okay, to overall management system. Okay, our approach now, which is our idea for the future, okay, we have to, in each case, to provide a hybrid solution, okay. to installing a specific electronic on each module is not effective in terms of cost. Okay, so the idea is to use a two-step analysis with a low-cost procedure, for example, a thermal analysis with a drone as a first step, just to identify the faults. Then to perform a very accurate electrical analysis just on the faulty module, okay, with a specific electronics. Okay, to these aims, develop electronics for this kind of measure is needed. Actually, we have some proposal in the research field, but we are waiting to have also available on the market. Okay, so I can conclude the presentation just with some take-home message. Okay, the point is that first of all, I want to say that this approach is applied on PV plants, but also can be applied to batteries. Okay, energy storage system, the batteries has actually the same structure of a PV plant. We have the battery cell connected in series to form a module, then racks and so on. Okay, so we have a distributed monitoring to be performed. The monitoring is actually performed by the battery management system at the moment. Okay, so the idea is that if a young engineer, an engineer has to dominate this kind of application, has to be a large knowledge base, okay, comprising something about the system, the application, okay, but also competencies about IoT technology, okay, artificial intelligence, okay, cloud, data management, and even digital security, okay, because we have data. Okay, so this is the conclusion of our talk. Thank you for your attention. Any questions is appreciated.
Yes.
If now or
is open. If you want to ask some question, is open. Maybe
Please.
they need a.
Yes, I suppose it's fine.
So I don't know, like how much, like photovoltaic energy do you actually produce? Tell me maybe in relationship and just some numbers, how much percent do you think?
I didn't say that. Good question. Actually,
How much maybe could it be like?
We can say this. Okay, a well-performing PV plant, okay, in general provided 9% of energy with respect to the theoretical one. Okay, so you have a good amount of energy you can save. Okay, are these approaches able to save all the losses? No. Okay, you have also to consider if there is an economic convenience in an intervention and so on. Okay, I suppose actually the more effective approach is the one shown in the slide, because the electronics are very cheap at the moment. Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay, with the optimizer. Okay, this, and the idea is to save to leave on the plant just 1 or 2% of energy losses. Okay, this is the idea. Okay.
Thank you. Could you excuse me? Could you say your name and where are you from? So.
Okay, in a general contract, okay, for a operating maintenance service, okay, you have two inspection per year. Okay, this is connected to the need to operate the cleaning of the module. Okay, so at the same time, the visual inspection is done. Okay, the other system is real time, 24 hours each day. Okay, this is a big difference between a traditional approach and the new approach. Okay, in the new approach, you have a sensor installed on the plant with the electronics, performing a continuous acquisition of data. Okay, so it's very different. So you have to apply big data analysis and so on. Okay, you have a lot of data. Okay, in the first case, also with the drone-based thermal analysis, you have an inspection more or less 2 times a year. Okay.
Thank you.
Satellites is an approach. This list is not exhaustive of all the possible, all the possible technology or approaches. Okay, satellites is possible. Okay, it's not real time because the satellite is not. Ah, okay. No, I prefer this one. Okay. The satellite is not on your PV plant continuously, but it moves. Okay, you have not a real time. When the satellites acquire images during the night, they are not useful. Okay, but it's an approach. Yes.
Grazie. Other?
Thanks. I saw a lot of computing, especially related to IoT environment systems, and I'm happy of this, but I think that the main problem in green production is when you produce energy in its place is not in the same hour of when you need. This is normally the domestic problem, because if you have a home and you have solar panel, you produce more energy during the day, but you stay at home at night. Battery could be a solution. You cited the battery at the end, the energy storing systems, but battery are make pollution, you know, and they are expensive. So the green approach, it does not prefer batteries. I think that one solution combined to the battery could be grid energy production system, grid connecting. So if you connect more sites or producing, you can produce energy at home and give the energy to a company that works normally in the day hours when there's the sun. And at the same time, you can produce other kinds of energy during the night and take the energy on the night. But the problem is monitoring these grid-connected systems. And I think computer science, not only AI, that is the trend moment, could help in this, especially monitoring where that is produced. And I hope that many, it could start by city or town, even small village. Maybe it's easier with the smaller village. You can organize a public production system connected with any home, any company in the sites, and have a sort of social energy distribution systems that can be the future to have a break from fossil polluting energy production systems. Do you think it could be possible, these sort of experiments, starting from small town and then I hope spreading in larger fields?
Yes, actually, this is a very complex question, actually. Okay, this is possible. It is possible also at the moment because the solution I show you is able to manage different sites. Okay, different PV plants. The scaling up of the system with a very high number of plants, I don't know if is possible at the moment. Okay, but in theory it's possible. Okay, the solution should be applied to energy community. Okay, also renewable. Okay. Okay.
Maybe mixing different kind of renewable energy, so wind, solar
yes,
production
this is
with photovoltaic production, geothermal.
The problem is the aim of monitoring. Okay, if you just want to have an idea about the actual behavior of the system, I mean, the amount of power is actually currently producing each plant, okay, is now is possible. If you wanted to apply some algorithm to optimize the transfer of energy and so on, I suppose this is not available at the moment as an application, but the research community is working on at the moment.
Okay, but computer science could help. Maybe because building models. I'm computer science. That's why I answered this.
What is not a physical layer is computer science for us. Okay. Also, the sensor is computer science for us. Okay. So for me, all of this stuff is in my domain as electronic engineer. Of course, the solar cell is an electronic device for me. Okay. But in terms of computer science, all the layers that are not electronic power layers, okay, are something related to the computer science. So it exploits algorithms, I don't know, artificial intelligence, and so on. Okay, the analysis of the big data. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot for your question.
Always your name, where are you from? Okay, so we optimize the.
So let's optimize this. I'm Alex from Germany. I'm a grid operating engineer for the biggest German grid operators. So I see your points for computer science coming into, but I think there are a lot of data points already available in the grid. Like, for example, in Germany, I just checked, we already need to power down all the solar systems because there is too much power in the grid. And of course, with smart infrastructure, you can power up the batteries, but I think it comes to the infrastructure. For example, you need the physical lines to bring the power from A to B. There's no chance to wirelessly send the power where you need it when you can save it at one place. Yeah, so.
Because the acquired data are private, okay, are not shared with the government, okay, I mean to the agency managing the line, okay. So it's not useful at the moment to be reliable with respect to shut down of the line of the grid. Yep. So the idea is try to have a data lake where each private prosumer can share the information.
Di parlare un po' vicino al microfono perché they are recording the.
And one thing you said, like maybe I didn't understand that battery power storage are environmentally concerning. I want to point out this is only a supply chain problem, but it's not a problem where it's actually installed, because I think that's giving more opportunities. Like the way you invest in it, you get a greater benefit out of it. So I think that was a thesis which I won't agree with. Yeah, just want to point out this.
Microphone. Forse un po' basso proprio.
Pumping of old systems. Okay. I don't know if you know that in Italy, public funds are dated 2007. Okay. And now this kind of PV plants are aged, degraded, so needs for a revamping. Okay, this is an opportunity actually at the moment. The problem is also the culture about this and the spreading of this information on the market, the energy market. Okay, I suppose that who actually invest in solar energy maybe don't know about these new trends. Okay, this is another aspect. Okay, thank you for your question. Okay.
Other? No more? Okay, go on. So the next step, thank you, Professore.
Thank you.
Thank you. And anyway, we have also open discussion at the end of the last two. And the next one is Amos Giardino. Amos Giardino is the vice president of CNPI. And at the same time is a technical director of Percerto. Percerto is a national renewable energy community founded by CNPI. And is going to talk about this experience, but at the same time, is going to talk also about a bit of building automation, right? And maybe we have in Italiano, and then you translate step by step, not at the end, because I think it's a bit more difficult. This is for you if you want. Prego.
Okay, good morning. I am Amos Giardino, and my English is finished. I speak in Italian, and Martina translation. Allora, CNPI, il Consiglio Nazionale dei Periti Industriali, ha inteso promuovere una comunità energetica che si chiama Percerto. Abbiamo lì, ok? Vediamo. Una comunità energetica che si chiama Percerto, che opera su tutto il territorio nazionale. È uno strumento operativo per i professionisti impegnati nella transizione energetica. È stato scelto dal Consiglio nazionale di promuovere questa comunità energetica proprio perché crede che la transizione energetica funzioni con la condivisione e la cooperazione, ma soprattutto con l'aspetto sociale, perché la comunità energetica ha anche una funzione sociale. L'Unione Europea nel XXI secolo, al raggiungimento degli obiettivi della neutralità climatica, prevede che entro il 2050 siano previsti nel Green Deal europeo richiede una profonda trasformazione dei sistemi energetici e delle infrastrutture dei modelli di consumo energia. In questo contesto, il quadro normativo europeo si è progressivamente rafforzato attraverso una serie di direttive e regolamenti finalizzati alla decarbonizzazione del sistema energetico. Tra questi si assumono in particolare rilievo la direttiva dell'Unione Europea 2024-1075 sull'integrazione di impianti di produzione da fonti rinnovabili, sistemi di accumulo energetico, infrastrutture intelligenti di gestione di flussi energetici. Parallelamente, le politiche europee per la decarbonizzazione stanno incentivando lo sviluppo di sistemi energetici sempre più decentralizzati, digitalizzati e integrati, nei quali i cittadini, le imprese e le comunità locali assumono un ruolo attivo nella produzione e nella gestione dell'energia. In questo scenario, le comunità energetiche rinnovabili, in Italia le chiamiamo CER, rappresentano uno degli strumenti più innovativi e introdotti dalla normativa europea e in particolare dalla direttiva dell'Unione Europea del 2018-2001, RED 2, e successivamente rafforzati nel 2023 dalla 2413 denominata RED 3. Le comunità energetiche consentono infatti di promuovere modelli di produzione distribuita dell'energia, favorendo la partecipazione diretta dei cittadini, delle imprese alla transizione energetica. Il progetto per certo è nato perché sta per Periti Industriali, CER, Total Organization, quindi è un sistema di gestione completo. Il progetto per certo Comunità Energetica Nazionale si inserisce pienamente in questo quadro strategico europeo, proponendosi come una piattaforma operativa e tecnologica per la realizzazione di una rete di comunità energetiche interconnesse su scala nazionale ed europea. L'obiettivo del modello per certo non è soltanto quello di favorire la produzione di energia da fonti rinnovabili, ma di creare un ecosistema energetico integrato in grado di gestire in modo intelligente la produzione distribuita da fonti rinnovabili, la condivisione dell'energia. Allora, in questo contesto, come abbiamo detto, l'integrazione ai sistemi di accumulo energetico avanzati, l'utilizzo di vettori energetici innovativi come l'idrogeno verde, la digitalizzazione e l'ottimizzazione dei flussi energetici. In questo contesto, per certo, si configura come uno strumento operativo per la transizione energetica e digitale, coerente con le strategie europee di decarbonizzazione e con gli obiettivi europei, contribuendo alla creazione di sistemi energetici locali più resilienti, sostenibili e partecipativi. La diffusione di modelli energetici basati su comunità locali interconnesse rappresenta infatti uno degli elementi chiave per costruire un sistema energetico europeo capace di integrare in modo efficiente le fonti rinnovabili, ridurre la dipendenza dai combustibili fossili e promuovere una nuova governance energetica fondata sulla partecipazione attiva dei cittadini. Prego Martina.
Per certo is a renewable energy community born on the initiative of CNPI as an operation tool for professionals involved in the energy transition. Europe's energy transition aims to decarbonize the energy by the 2050. Directive APBD and the Fit for 55 package promote renewable electricity and energy system integration. Renewable energy, digitalization, and active participation for size and business. Per certo National Energy Community, an operation platform to build integrated energy communities across Italy and Europe.
Per certo, nasce con l'obiettivo di supportare la realizzazione di una comunità energetica nazionale basata su una rete di comunità locali interconnesse. Il modello si fonda su tre pilastri principali: produzione distribuita da fonti rinnovabili, gestione intelligente dei flussi energetici, partecipazione attiva degli utenti prosumer. La piattaforma per certo consente di integrare impianti fotovoltaici, eolici e altre fonti rinnovabili all'interno di un ecosistema digitale che permette di monitorare in tempo reale la produzione e il consumo di energia. Questo approccio permette di massimizzare l'autoconsumo locale, di ridurre la dipendenza dalle fonti fossili. Dal punto di vista operativo, per certo si configura come un'infrastruttura digitale che collega impianti di produzione, sistemi di accumulo, utenti finali, operatori di rete, consentendo una gestione ottimizzata dell'energia prodotta dall'intera comunità.
So per certo is based on three main pillars that are distributed renewable energy production, intelligent energy flow management, and active participation of prosumers.
Uno degli aspetti fondamentali delle comunità energetiche è la capacità di condividere l'energia prodotta localmente tra i membri della comunità, Tuttavia, la natura intermittente delle fonti rinnovabili richiede l'integrazione di sistemi di accumulo capaci di bilanciare la differenza tra la produzione e il consumo. Nel modello per certo, l'accumulo energetico viene realizzato attraverso diverse tecnologie complementari. Batterie elettrochimiche per lo stoccaggio di medio periodo, sistemi di accumulo distribuiti presso gli utenti, supercondensatori per la gestione di picchi di potenza. Le batterie consentono di accumulare energia prodotta durante le ore di maggiore irraggiamento solare per utilizzarla nelle ore solari o nei momenti di maggior domanda. I supercondensatori invece sono particolarmente efficaci per la gestione delle variazioni rapide di potenza, contribuendo alla stabilizzazione della rete e alla riduzione dei transitori energetici. Vai Martina.
Energy communities share locally produced renewable energy and use storage system to balance supplies and demand. The main storage technologies are batteries, supercapacitor, and grid hydrogen. Batteries are used for short to medium storage and improve self-consumption. Supercapacitor handle very fast fluctuation and power peaks. Green hydrogen is used for long-term and seasonal storage.
La piattaforma digitale per certo svolge un ruolo centrale nel coordinamento tra la produzione e il consumo di energia all'interno della comunità energetica. Attraverso sistemi di monitoraggio avanzati, algoritmi di gestione e piattaforme digitali di scambio energetico, per certo consente di monitorare in tempo reale la produzione e il consumo energetico, ottimizzare l'utilizzo dei sistemi di accumulo, gestire la condivisione dell'energia tra i membri della comunità, stabilizzare la rete locale, riducendo i picchi di domanda. Questa architettura digitale rappresenta un esempio concreto di integrazione tra transizione energetica e transizione digitale. L'utilizzo di piattaforme informatiche avanzate consente infatti di trasformare la rete elettrica tradizionale in una smart grid capace di adattarsi dinamicamente alle condizioni di produzione e di consumo.
So Pecerto's digital platform coordinates energy production and consumption with the community interballing, real-time monitoring, storage optimization, energy sharing among members, local grid and stabilization. Example of energy digital translation toward a smart grid.
Oltre ai sistemi di accumulo tradizionali, per certo prevede l'utilizzo di vettori energetici innovativi come l'idrogeno verde. Quando la produzione di energia rinnovabile supera il fabbisogno della comunità, l'energia per in eccesso può essere utilizzata per alimentare elettrolizzatori che producono idrogeno a partire dall'acqua. Questo processo consente di trasformare l'energia elettrica in un vettore energetico facilmente stoccabile e trasportabile. L'idrogeno prodotto può essere utilizzato in diversi ambiti: riconversione in energia elettrica tramite fuel cell, alimentazione di sistemi di cogenerazione, utilizzo nella mobilità sostenibile, in particolare per il trasporto pesante. Qui gli facciamo un'aggiunta, una sorpresa a Martina, perché con l'American Cup che si terrà qui a Napoli l'anno prossimo, i barchini di supporto funzioneranno ad idrogeno e saranno di fatto delle barche elettriche alimentate a idrogeno con le fuel cell. Quindi nell'American Cup c'è un'aggiunta a questa. Martina, aggiungilo poi dopo. O vuoi farlo subito? Ok. Quindi l'integrazione dei processi industriali ad alta intensità energetica. In questo modo l'idrogeno diventa un elemento chiave per la gestione dell'energia rinnovabile su scala territoriale, contribuendo alla decarbonizzazione in diversi settori economici.
Okay. Percerto integrates green hydrogen to store sample renewable energy to electrolysis. Green hydrogen can be used for recognizer to electricity, fuel cells, cogeneration system, social mobility, especially heavy transport, energy initiative, industrial process. A key solution for large-scale renewable energy management and decarbonization. In 2025, there will be the American Cups and in here Naples, and
Le barche di supporto.
That support all the things are going to
hydrogen.
Battery. That's all.
Okay. L'integrazione tra comunità energetiche e sistemi basati sull'idrogeno apre nuove opportunità per lo sviluppo della mobilità sostenibile e la cogenerazione ad alta efficienza. Nel settore dei trasporti l'idrogeno può essere utilizzato per alimentare autobus, veicoli commerciali e flotte pubbliche, contribuendo alla riduzione delle emissioni di CO2 nelle aree urbane. Nel campo della cogenerazione, le fuel cell consentono di produrre simultaneamente energia elettrica e calore con elevati rendimenti energetici. Questa tecnologia può essere utilizzata per alimentare edifici pubblici, strutture industriali, infrastrutture urbane, migliorando l'efficienza complessiva del sistema energetico. Per certo consente di integrare questa soluzione all'interno di un'unica piattaforma di gestione, favorendo la creazione di ecosistemi energetici locali basati su fonti rinnovabili e tecnologie avanzate.
Energy communities, hydrogen enable sustainable mobility and high efficiency cooperation. Hydrogen for buses, flats and commercial transport, and fuel cell for combined heat and power. Per certo integrates this solution in one platform, creating local renewable energy ecosystems.
L'integrazione delle fonti rinnovabili nei sistemi energetici richiede l'impiego di tecnologie di accumulo capaci di rispondere alle esigenze operative differenti. Nessuna tecnologia di accumulo risulta infatti ottimale per le applicazioni energetiche. La scelta dipende da diversi parametri, tra cui la durata dell'accumulo, la potenza richiesta, l'efficienza del sistema, il costo e il livello di integrazione con la rete elettrica. Nel modello energetico promosso da Percerto, l'ottimizzazione del sistema energetico avviene attraverso l'integrazione complementare di tre principali tecnologie di accumulo: batterie, supercondensatori e sistemi basati su idrogeno verde. Queste tecnologie operano su scale temporali e funzionali differenti, contribuendo a stabilità e resilienza delle comunità energetiche. Vai.
Renewable integration requires different storage solutions based on time, power, efficiency, and cost. Percerto combines three complementary technologies: battery, supercapacitor, green hydrogen. Together, they enhance stabilities and realizes of energy communities.
Le batterie elettrochimiche rappresentano oggi la tecnologia di accumulo più diffusa nelle comunità energetiche rinnovabili. I sistemi basati su batterie, in particolare batterie da ioni di litio, consentono di immagazzinare energia elettrica prodotta da impianti fotovoltaici ed eolici e utilizzarla nelle ore successive. Il principale campo di applicazione delle batterie riguarda quindi l'accumulo di medio periodo, generalmente su scale temporali comprese tra alcune ore e la giornata. Nelle comunità energetiche le batterie vengono utilizzate principalmente per incrementare l'autoconsumo dell'energia prodotta localmente, ridurre i prelievi della rete nelle ore di maggiore domanda, gestire i profili di carico giornalieri, supportare la stabilità della rete locale. In ambito urbano, residenziale, le batterie trovano applicazione sia in sistemi di accumulo centralizzati, sia in sistemi distribuiti presso gli utenti, prosumer, contribuendo alla flessibilità complessiva della rete energetica. I supercondensatori o ultracapacitori rappresentano una tecnologia di accumulo caratterizzata da elevata densità di potenza, da tempi di risposta estremamente rapidi e, a differenza delle batterie, i supercondensatori sono meno adatti allo stoccaggio di energia per lunghi periodi, ma risultano particolarmente efficaci nella gestione delle variazioni di potenza. I principali campi di applicazione dei supercondensatori includono la stabilizzazione della rete elettrica locale, la gestione dei picchi di potenza, la compensazione delle fluttuazioni rapide delle fonti rinnovabili, il supporto ai sistemi di accumulo basati sulle batterie. Nel contesto delle comunità energetiche, i supercondensatori possono essere integrati nei sistemi di gestione della rete per ridurre i transitori energetici e migliorare la qualità della fornitura elettrica. Grazie alla loro elevata durata, che può superare circa 1 milione di cicli di carica e scarica, i supercondensatori rappresentano una soluzione particolarmente efficace per applicazioni che richiedono frequenti variazioni di potenza. L'idrogeno verde, il terzo punto che avevamo detto, rappresenta una delle soluzioni più promettenti per l'accumulo energetico di lunga durata, per l'integrazione tra diversi settori energetici. Quando la produzione di energia rinnovabile supera il fabbisogno immediato della comunità energetica, l'energia in eccesso può essere utilizzata per alimentare elettrolizzatori che producono idrogeno a partire dall'acqua. Questo processo consente di trasformare l'energia elettrica in un vettore energetico stoccabile e trasportabile che può essere utilizzato successivamente in diversi ambiti. I principali campi di applicazione dell'idrogeno includono l'accumulo energetico stagionale, la riconversione di energia elettrica tramite il fuel cell, l'alimentazione di sistemi di cogenerazione ad alta efficienza, l'utilizzo della mobilità sostenibile, in particolare nel trasporto pesante, l'integrazione nei processi industriali, di cui ne parlerà il collega, l'integrazione dei processi industriali ad alta intensità energetica, e a differenza delle batterie e dei supercondensatori, l'idrogeno consente di accumulare grandi quantità di energia per periodi molto lunghi, rendendolo particolarmente adatto alla gestione e alla variabilità delle fonti rinnovabili.
So per certo, we said that use-free technologies, there are lithium-ion batteries are the most common storage technology in energy communities, and they're used for a medium and term storage. Then we use supercapacitor, are very durable and can be operated for many charge cycles, and they're very fast power management. And then we have green hydrogen is the best option for strong energy over long periods, and it's used for long-term storage.
L'evoluzione dei sistemi energetici verso i modelli sempre più decentrati richiede l'integrazione di diverse tecnologie di accumulo in un unico ecosistema energetico. Nel modello proposto da Percerto, l'architettura energetica della comunità si basa su un approccio multistorage, nel quale ogni tecnologia svolge il suo ruolo specifico. Supercondensatori per la gestione dei picchi di potenza e stabilizzazione della rete, come abbiamo già detto, batterie per l'accumulo giornaliero, l'ottimizzazione dell'autoconsumo, l'idrogeno verde per l'accumulo di lunga durata e integrazione settoriale. Questo approccio consente di migliorare l'efficienza complessiva del sistema energetico, di aumentare la resilienza delle infrastrutture energetiche locali. In prospettiva europea, l'integrazione delle tecnologie di accumulo complementari rappresenta uno degli elementi chiave per garantire la piena integrazione delle fonti rinnovabili e per costruire un sistema energetico sostenibile, flessibile e decarbonizzato.
Puoi andare avanti.
Okay. Il percorso verso una transizione energetica sostenibile richiede strumenti innovativi capaci di integrare tecnologie, governance e partecipazione sociale. Per certo rappresenta un modello avanzato di comunità energetica capace di favorire la produzione e condivisione dell'energia rinnovabile, integrare i sistemi di accumulo avanzati, incluse le batterie e supercondensatori, utilizzare i vettori energetici innovativi come l'idrogeno, sfruttare le piattaforme digitali per la gestione intelligente dell'energia. In prospettiva europea, per i modelli come Percerto possono contribuire in modo significativo alla costruzione di un sistema energetico più resiliente, sostenibile e decentralizzato. La sfida dei prossimi anni sarà quella di trasformare queste innovazioni tecnologiche in infrastrutture operative diffuse sul territorio, capaci di coinvolgere i cittadini, imprese e istituzioni in un percorso comune verso una neutralità climatica. Le comunità energetiche non rappresentano soltanto la soluzione tecnologica, ma un nuovo paradigma di produzione e di gestione dell'energia più distribuito, più partecipativo e più sostenibile. Poi c'è il secondo pezzo.
Vado io? Okay. So the last one slide was the energy transition needs integrate solution combining technology, governance and participation. Percerto is an advanced energy community model that promotes renewable energy sharing, integrates storage like batteries and supercapacitors, use hydrogen as an energy carrier, realized on a smart digital platform, a step through a more resilient, decarbonized and suitable energy system.
Grazie. Allora, visto che mi è stato chiesto di integrare con la parte di domotica, che il collega che purtroppo non ha potuto esserci, questa parte sarà una sorpresa per Martina, perché dovrà tradurre direttamente.
Okay, Amos is just a few minutes is going to talk about domotic and the importance of the building automation in
Allora, partiamo dal principio delle comunità energetiche intelligenti, cioè dove si gestiscono i carichi, dove si gestisce la produzione, e si gestisce tutto con interfacce digitali, quindi controllando, misurando, monitorando i consumi e le produzioni, si gestiscono i sistemi di accumulo, i sistemi di produzione e quant'altro. Nella building automation i principi sono esattamente gli stessi. Vuoi iniziare questo pezzo?
Building automation is very important to take care about the come si dice, consumo. No, for me is impossible. I'm not the okay, thank you. Help me, because in this case
Amos is speaking without microphone. I'll make simultaneous translation.
Perfetto, grazie mille.
Don't go fast, because simultaneous translation is something you go to college for 6-7 years. So, can you start from the beginning, please? Parti dall'inizio, riparti dall'inizio.
C'era un microfono,
No.
perché altrimenti non esistono. Non funziona.
Però si fa la stessa. Vabbè. Vai. So quanto verrà bene col microfono. Sarà difficile quel. Proviamo. Devo anche sentire. Vai.
Allora, la building automation è molto, come principi, è molto assimilabile al sistema di gestione su piattaforma delle CER.
Building automation is very similar as a line of principle to the CER, Energetic Communication Platform.
In quanto nella comunità energetica evoluta come quella che vi ho descritto, si monitorizza, si misurano consumi e produzioni e si interviene in maniera interattiva direttamente.
Evolved energetic community, like the one he just showed us, is integrated with sensors, transducers, and other components assimilability to the building automation.
La comunità energetica consente di distribuire a livello di una stessa cabina primaria l'energia e gestirla in modo da ridurre le perdite e quindi ottimizzare il sistema di energia elettrica all'interno della comunità.
The energetic community is able to learn how to store or how to produce based on the requirement of the grid.
Mentre all'interno del building automation si ottimizza l'autoconsumo e la resilienza dell'edificio con gli stessi principi, quindi monitorando i flussi, interagendo attraverso dei dispositivi intelligenti, l'utilizzo di intelligenza artificiale e degli attuatori che mi consentono di inserire o disinserire carichi, ottimizzare i sistemi di consumo in base alla produzione e quindi ottimizzare all'interno dell'edificio la gestione energetica.
In building automation, the principle is exactly the same, but smaller. So you have to optimize when you produce the energy and then you have to store it or use it simultaneously or release later.
Allora, questo ovviamente abbiamo parlato di monitoraggio, quindi rende necessario una connessione in rete dei dispositivi, dei sistemi e del controllo non solo dell'appartamento, ma dell'intero edificio. E questo messo in condivisione di queste gestioni però può comportare dei rischi.
Clearly, if you want to monitor, then you have to put all these system on a network. And then this is the second step.
Allora, i rischi che possono comportare sono rischi informatici. Tutto quello che noi connettiamo in rete, che abbiamo come device connessi in rete, che possono andare dai sistemi di gestione energetica dell'appartamento, sistemi di videosorveglianza, sistemi di anti-intrusione, sistemi di controllo all'apertura dei cancelli. Ormai molti di noi aprono il cancello di casa stando a migliaia di chilometri da casa, perché quando suona lo vedo sul telefonino e posso interagire. Tutto questo però comporta un rischio informatico di intrusione.
There's a security challenge, an information technology security challenge when you put something on a network. Just think about TVCC systems, which now in Italy they are very common, and or the feature that lets you open the gate just using your cell phone.
Quindi diventa importante inserire dei sistemi di sicurezza informatica, di protezione, dei firewall, che mi consentano di avere blindato l'accesso e in maniera certificata blindato l'accesso in modo da evitare intrusioni di hacker o di chiunque abbia intenzioni di poterci gestire la casa o tutto quello che è interconnesso con quella rete.
So we have to build firewalls to prevent hackers or other intruders, informatical intruders, to get access to this private network.
Ad esempio si è parlato recentemente di sistemi di telecamere molto vulnerabili dall'esterno, utilizzate molto spesso come accesso da hacker, perché difficilmente controllabili e gestibili. Quindi bisogna bloccare direttamente all'accesso alla connessione della rete e essere molto sicuri sui sistemi di reti wifi che si utilizzano.
So as we said, TVCC are the main entry point of hackers. So the suggestion is to prevent the network access from the beginning. So not at the endpoints, but at the router or any Wi-Fi access point.
Quindi si tratta di utilizzare sistemi, reti certificate, e il principio è esattamente lo stesso, anche se non all'interno di un edificio, ma all'interno di un'area che può essere anche molto vasta, utilizzato dal sistema di gestione della rete per certo nel prevenire l'introduzione di soggetti estranei all'interno della rete, che a noi serve invece per poter gestire il sistema.
Then use of certified network is an option, and per certo the CER is using one of those, so can monitoring from distance. Remotely.
In linea di massima, diciamo, la questione riguardante il building automation dovrebbe essere completa, se non ci sono domande.
So the building automation introduction is completed. If you have any question. Ok, it's an easy question. Dal punto di vista della sicurezza informatica, ci sono iniziative governative che puntano a
coinvolgere, a sensibilizzare, ma anche ad incentivare gli utilizzatori o gli installatori o i progettisti.
Certo, no, ci sono delle iniziative governative incentivate proprio finalizzate alla sicurezza informatica e all'informatizzazione del sistema nazionale. Quindi da un punto di vista dell'intervento in più c'è un'agenzia di sicurezza dell'informatica nazionale che interviene su quello, però gli incentivi ci sono. Forse conosce meglio la...
Yes. Just joking. Okay, and there are government initiatives, mostly in economical incentives. It has been 6 years since government is working on a public blockchain. Introducing this concept even at school, just to get people familiarizing with this topic from the young age. You speak English, why?
Security is not even as a tool. Is a lot of models and a lot of process, a lot of flow, social, cultural, and not only security. It's not only on specific informatic culture. Is a process we have to acquire, and lot of this topic are about blockchain, to decentralize some kind of public information, and so on. But these are more government processes that we are now in gone.
Yes. Lui parla dell'arbitraggio, cioè di dire accumulo energia quando costa poco il giorno e la rivendo la notte, anche se non ho fotovoltaico posso fare arbitraggio.
Money for the day. Then you have the season energy savings. So they might make money once a month or once the situation. So how are you going to make it interesting for businesses to provide those batteries and make money once a year, once a month, without putting it only on subsidies or exploding the energy prices?
E quindi lui parla dell'aspetto economico prettamente. Cioè, questa batteria quindi mi porta a avere un guadagno, esatto. Lui poi ha fatto anche esempio una volta al giorno, una volta al mese, una volta all'anno. Chiaramente ho solo un periodo durante la giornata quando posso accumulare e un periodo quando posso scaricare.
Allora,
come incentivare il business, cioè come rendere il business attractive, come rendere le batterie attrattive per l'investimento privato?
Allora, le batterie possono avere due funzioni, una a livello impianto singolo e una a livello di comunità energetica. L'impianto singolo essenzialmente ha la funzione di dire accumulo quando posso e utilizzo l'energia quando mi serve, quindi generalmente di notte.
Okay, so let's divide in two sides. Small plants, so family business, and big plants, so like the energetic community. So clearly it's different how a family thinks about the battery and how a big organization like an energetic community think about the business or of the money making. As don't know if this is your question, if we are beginning to answering. If not, please correct us. Okay. Regarding the
Tecnicamente è possibile chiaramente poter caricare le batterie quando l'energia costa di meno e immetterla quando l'energia costa di più. È una forma, diciamo, di business speculativo che può lavorare in quei termini.
When you absorb energy from the grid, you are a consumer. Okay, you pay at the consumer cost. Okay, but you inject energy in the grid. You are a producer, so you buy at the producer cost. Are different costs. Okay, this is not.
Question mark is not about me wanting to make business with it, but I want this.
Actually.
No one can make money with it.
Mm. Mm.
My current because if people can make money with that, buying it's cheap. Or can actually expand it, that's going to be a problem.
Moreover, I suppose that in Italy there is ongoing also a tax on this kind of exchange to limit its effect. Okay, from the technical point of view, we are defining which is the technical index to be measured. Okay, to apply this kind of tax to limit just the exchange for money. Okay, for business. Okay, the exchange should be only due if the energy is needed and if the grid needs an ancillary service. Okay, that is a good question.
I think we can close this panel and you can go to do your. Okay, then we have the last Tommaso Vanneschi now. Thank you so much for your translation. So Tommaso, però avete lasciato un microfono lì, serve un microfono. No, grazie. So Tommaso, you are going to talk about hydrogen, I mean, but in a different way, because you are coming from Arezzo.
Yes.
Maybe you are talking about something related with gold or something like this, I suppose.
Don't spoil, please.
No, because I know that hydrogen is very important for this kind of production.
Yes, it is.
So,
okay. A little presentation. I am Tommaso Vanneschi. As I have been properly introduced, I come from Arezzo. I'm an electrical system designer, and I'm also specialized in automation and oil and gas and fire safety. So Arezzo is the biggest pole in Europe for goldsmith industry. Now, goldsmith industry is not a proper industry. It's more handcraft art. So when you have to introduce an industrial process there, you don't speak with engineers, you speak with artisans, you speak with artists. So, and why I said it's not a proper industry, because there's not, the process is not from zero to something finished 100% automated. There's always the presence of someone supervising any single unit, any single machinery. And hydrogen, as he said, is used in the goldsmith factories or labs, not as an energy source like it's used in energetic communities or for transportation, but for the chemical properties, the oxy-reduction chemical properties. So probably there are chemicals engineers in front of me, so I won't step on this dangerous path, but
what I'll tell you is when you produce jewelries with gold, you don't use 100% pure gold because it's impossible to manipulate or to work. So you add some other metals, mostly platinum, copper, or silver. Copper and silver are very easy to oxidate. And also you have to make run this gold and other metals through a hardening process. And when you do this, you have to heat them up. When you heat them up, then even if you do in a protected environment like nitrogen, then the risk of oxidation is very high. And a jewel which is not shiny, it's not fine. So here comes the hydrogen. When you heat up the hydrogen, then the hydrogen oxidizes itself, helping to reduce the oxygen in the atmosphere, because oxygen is very small particles, so molecular. It's very easy, even in a protected, pressurized zone, to have some, even inside the jewel itself. So that's the first thing. And then the reducing property of the hydrogen, which reduces the other metals. So fine, buy cylinders of hydrogen and use it. No, it's not this simple. In this story, we speak also about fire safety. So Tuscany, it's a place where the use of the terrain, it's very regulated, and the industrial areas must be all together, not to spoil, to you have to preserve the landscape. We are in Tuscany anyway. So if all these industries are very close together, then it's impossible to make storage of a dangerous gas like hydrogen, which you know, the explosion limits run from 4% to 75%. So almost 100% of the time you have an explosion risk, and you cannot, as you know, liquefy for storage the hydrogen, because liquefying the hydrogen requires very low temperatures, so very expensive energy from the energy point of view process. Chilling is not cheap. So you have to ask a firefighting board a permission, and they'll tell you, why not? How much you want to store? 10 cylinders? And that's good for small labs, but big labs like the experience I'm telling you, they requires a lot more. And then we are talking about green transition. So hydrogen, if you don't produce locally, you have to buy, and then you have to transport. How you transport? In Italy, we don't use a train as a means of transportation. Of course, in Arezzo, middle of Tuscany, there is no sea, no river. And let's not say by plane, which is totally the last option. So the idea, this pilot project, I was involved a few years ago. Then we decided, okay, let's produce our own by electrolysis. And this factory, like most of the goldsmith factories, they produce a huge amount of wastewater. And this wastewater is an issue. So in this project, what we said, okay, let's install a big solar plant with the electricity produced by this solar plant. We run two main things: an evaporator to clean the wastewater and to make solid the waste, reducing the space and also the cost of transportation and processing of the waste. And with this purified water, then run the electrolysator unit along with the solar energy. Anyway, the factory is open during the day, not during the night, because as we said, it's not a proper industry. So it works only when people are there to work, and normally people don't work at night in a factory, or not in Italy, not in Italy. We don't work even during the day sometimes. So if it's a road, you know, I don't know if you experience our roads, but as you see,
most times we don't work even during the day. So, except of joking, I've been very quick actually. So this was the project. Few consideration. Doing this, you produce what you need. So you don't need to store. So it's safe and it's efficient and is also cost effective. It's green. It's green not only because of producing energy with a solar panel, recycling wastewater. No, it's green because I produce energy, but by electrolysis, I produce also oxygen. And this oxygen is released clean in the environment. And this project I worked and I'm explaining to you, produces in a day the amount of ideal forest of 50 trees will produce. So it's not much, but it's better than drive a diesel car. And some criticality. The criticality here is to correctly size the plant, because when you produce hydrogen with electrolysis, then you can't actually decide how much. You have a size of a cell and you can run from 30 to 100%, but you cannot go below 30 of production. If you produce more, then you have to release in the atmosphere, because if you go too low, then you reduce pressure. And if you reduce pressure, you mix oxygen and hydrogen. And that's not a good idea. We saw some experiments 50 years ago in Germany and or in the States that went not well. And one more good thing, as we said, the supply chain gets locally. And I guess that now in Europe, we have also, considering the international situation, look for supply chain that we can control and try not to expose our industries to what's the exact geopolitical issues. And if you have no questions, I almost hit all my points.
Is there one question from France?
Just a very quick question. I might have missed it. But
You are the chemical engineer.
No.
Okay, good.
I mean, I did chemistry at the beginning.
No answer, no question accepted by chemical engineers.
I'm not. It's just, so this project you are talking about, is this like, are you coming from like a company being consulted by the goldsmith, or is it like a more research project, mixed private-public money? How is it?
Good question. Sorry, I didn't explain. No, I've been contracted by this company. I've been contracted to make the proper paperwork to ask to the firefighting board permit to increase the volume of hydrogen stored. When they explained me what they wanted to do and how much hydrogen they need, I told them that's not the way we're gonna do this. And I had this idea, why don't we involve and as I said, all the equipment we installed are produced within the European Union. And one good thing I could add, after 7 years, we confirmed that the maintenance cost of this plant are within the 1% of the building cost per year. So that's also a good thing or an important thing you have to engineer because it's easy to do. Then, as it was appointing before, if the customer is happy, then he's gonna spread the word. But if he said, okay, you did this, but it's costing me more in maintenance than in running or buying, then it's not a solution. In this case, we can do. Exactly. Exactly.
And so another like economical question, because I think that to make these big implants to produce hydrogen is quite expensive.
In this scenario, we didn't talk about sizing. Okay. It's a 22 cubic meters per hour. So it's not quite big. Actually, this plant could fit inside this room.
Okay.
22 cubic meter per hour means around 1 cylinder per hour you use. A big one, a 50-liter cylinder.
Okay, and but about the technology behind it, is it expensive? So a company which needs hydrogen.
This plant costed 500,000. But
Okay,
you have
but-
also to consider how much would you pay for the cylinders.
Yeah.
And as we said, it's not just the cost, which is anyway, it's cost effective because especially now with the diesel costing above €2, we save all the trucks bringing the cylinders. But the possibility to do, because the alternative was move the factory to Brazil. So there is not possible in that area to store hydrogen or to buy and store. So
Okay, so the companies realized that they need to spend this €500,000 euros,
of course they did,
to gain something.
Of course
Okay.
they did, but thanks to some government initiative like Industry 4.0, which I guess in the rest of Europe it's working by a different name. I'm not an expert. So 40% of the cost was, and this answers also your question, reimbursed as a tax credit in 5 years by the government.
Okay, thank you. That's a good thing, actually.
Yes, but now it's not possible anymore because that instrument is finished. There are different instruments, but it's an economical matter.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any questions? No? Thank you, Tommaso, also because we finished with you with interesting also before you also Amos talk about hydrogen, but your speech was more dedicated to gold in Arezzo, and one thing is also interesting, but we didn't talk deeply about this. You were talking about that in Tuscany is not so easy, no? Toscana Shire. It's not so easy to build solar implants or so on. This is a problem in Italy because every region have a different rules about this, and it's not so easy. We have a very complicated question about I tell you in Italian, then we translate aree idonee, aree non idonee, where put the implants. And it's not so easy. There are some region more easy, other region more difficult. I don't talk about this region because last time I received, we were in Brussels last time, and generally there are some region it's more easy, other that is impossible to move, and this is a problem sometimes because we have, of course, to respect the landscape and so on, but at the same time we have to give the answer to the family, to the companies, and so on. But this could be another chapter of our speech. So I think we can finish here. Giovanni Esposito, Mr. President, it's your turn just to say hello to everybody, to say thank you to our colleagues that talks with the young engineers and industrial engineers. So I hope for you was a good day because I hope you receive a lot of interesting points. Of course, you need to go on, and for me that's all. Giovanni, it's your turn. In italiano e lei ti do questo.
Sì, ce l'ho, grazie. Sì, ma interviene dopo. Grazie a tutti. Spero che siano stati argomenti di vostro interesse. Io ne ho capito poco, ma conoscendo la materia mi sono in qualche modo fatto un'idea. Volevo ringraziare i relatori innanzitutto, l'università, una società, diciamo, eccellenza napoletana, l'ARPA Campania, il direttore ha portato la sua testimonianza. come diciamo, questa città è molto attenta ai processi di cambiamento, ai processi diciamo, di innovazione tecnologica. Immagino che avete affrontato i vari temi anche con il mio vicepresidente Giardino, che vi ha parlato sicuramente di queste esperienze che stiamo facendo, che è una comunità energetica nazionale, un progetto che nasce qui dal 2021, diciamo ormai qualche anno fa, l'abbiamo realizzata. Io vorrei lanciare, e poi chiaramente non so se c'è scritto nel mio intervento, è che questa collaborazione con 20 paesi europei non può, come dire, chiudersi con un evento, diciamo, di racconto. Spero di poter in questo periodo e con, diciamo, l'intera nostra categoria lavorare per un progetto comune, una startup diciamo, internazionale con le loro competenze, con le nostre competenze, per far sì che chiaramente poi resti qualcosa anche diciamo, nel futuro rispetto a queste cose che noi stiamo facendo. Di nuovo grazie a tutti e oggi pomeriggio ci saranno diciamo, degli altri interventi e inizio a già salutare e a ringraziare gli sponsor che hanno permesso anche di stare qui oggi. Poco, però va bene lo stesso, ma stavo scherzando e quindi chiudo dicendo grazie a voi, grazie diciamo della vostra presenza qua oggi e chiaramente per loro ci sarà diciamo Martina che dirà una cosa che forse ho detto già ma non è detto.
Dear colleagues, we have to the conclusion of this intensive and fruitful day dedicated to one of the most crucial and urgent themes of our times, the convergence between digital transformation and energy transition, or the twin transition. The topics discussed during today's round table highlighted the changes and opportunity that this transformation entails, and I'm sure that each of us brings home new ideas, reflection, and ideas to face future challenges with competence and innovation. We had the privilege of listening to expert, professional, and industrial representative who enriched the data with their know-how and experience and publishes the importance of the integration approach that unites digitalization and sustainable. The innovation solution presented today, such as the use of statable data, artificial intelligence, environment monitoring system, and advanced energy solution, are key tools for sustainable development of our territories and for the progress of our professions. I hope that we have a discussion today that can be translated into concrete action and that the discussion launched here will continue to grow both nationally and internationally. The CNPI is and will always be ready to support its members on this journey, promoting innovation, construction training, and collaboration between professionals. I would like to thank all the speakers for their sublime contribution, which have made this an opportunity of enrich not only professionally, but also personally. It's essential that these themes and not remain only on a theoretical level, but that become an integral part of our daily practice. Special thanks go to the institutional to make this event possible, the Municipality of Naples and the ARPAC, which have always been close to the technical professionals. I'm convinced that this conference has created two bases for new collaboration, for a new strengthening of professional networks at the European level. The participation of young professionals and new generation is critical to success addressing the challenges of the twin transition. And I'm proud to see our rural and industrial expert and young engineer increases central in this process. Thank you and good luck.
Thank you. So, the last important announcement. Would you like to taste Napolitan street food? Yes. So follow Camilla downstairs because now we are going to Passione di Sofi, street food in via Toledo 324. See you there. Bye bye. Thank you very much.